everyone, welcome to JAIIBCAIIBonTips. Today we will learn the chapter number 15 of Indian economy, that is theories of interest. So let's start learning this chapter. Let's start with a really interesting concept called interest. Imagine you are borrowing money from someone and they ask you to give them a little extra money in return for letting you use that money for a certain amount of time. That extra money you pay is called interest. Right, like it is written that interest is a payment made by a borrower for the use of a sum of money for a period of time. It is one of the four types of income, the other being rents, wages and profit. As you all know that there are four types of income. Four types. First is rent, second is wages, third is profit, and the fourth one is interest. Right? Now think of interest as one of the ways people earn money. Just like how you can make money from things like working for a salary or running a business, interest is another way people can earn income. In fact, it's one of the four main types of income, as I told you all. But here's the cool part. Interest is not just a single thing. It's made up of three parts. Like here it is written. Payment for the risk involved in making the loan. Payment for the trouble involved. Pure interest, that is the payment for the use of the money. So let's understand one by one. That is the risk payment. When you borrow money, there is a certain level of risk involved. That means there's a chance that a person who lent you the money might not get it back. To make up for this risk, you pay a little extra in interest, right? So this is the risk payment. Second one is trouble payment. Lending and borrowing money involves some work. There are things like paperwork, checking if you are using the money properly, and making sure everything is going smoothly. So the person lending you money also gets paid a bit for the trouble of managing the loan, right? Last one is pure interest. This is the core part of interest. It is like a fee you pay for using someone else's money. Just like you might pay to rent a car or a movie, you are paying for the privilege of using money that is not yours. And guess what? Inflation, which is the gradual increase in the cost of things over time, also affects interest, as you all know. Like in our bank, as the inflation hikes, the interest rates increases. Right? So we have seen this in our day-to-day life. That's because the value of money changes as time goes on and interest rates need to adjust to keep up with this change. Now, picture this. At any given time, there's a certain interest rate that's considered normal. This is kind of like the going rate for borrowing and lending money. It's determined by how many people want to borrow money and how much money is available to lend. This is called pure interest, and it's a bit like a price tag on borrowing money. But here is the twist. Not all loans are the same. Some loans come with more risk or more trouble than others. For example, if you borrow money from a friend without promising to give anything valuable if you can't pay it back, that's riskier for the friend, right? So they might ask for more interest. But if you borrow money from a bank and promise to give them something valuable if you can't pay, like your bike or home or a land, right? They will be more comfortable and might ask for less interest. And even the government gets involved. When the government lends money for a short time, like any of the loan provided by government, they might charge a lower interest rate. But if they are lending money for a long time, they might charge a higher interest rate, because things can change a lot over a period. So to sum it all up, interest is like a little extra payment you make when you borrow money. It has different parts: risk payment, trouble payment, and pure interest. And it helps people make money in a similar way to rent, wages, and profit. Right? Interest rates are like prices for borrowing money, and they are influenced by things like how much people want to borrow and how much money is available. And different loans have different rate of interest, as we all know, because of factors like risk and trouble. So it's a fascinating world where money meets economics, right? let's understand the next topic, that is Keynes' liquidity preference theory of rate of interest. As per J.M. Keynes, the rate of interest is purely monetary phenomenon and is determined by the demand for money and supply of money. It is also known as liquidity preference theory. Let's understand this with an example. Imagine you are trying to understand why people borrow and lend money. John Maynard Keynes, a famous economist, had some interesting ideas about this. He said that the interest rate, which is the cost of borrowing or the reward for lending money, is determined by how much people want to hold on to their money and how much money is available to them. To explain this, let's think about a simplified world where people have two ways to keep their money. First is in their pockets, or second is in the form of bonds, right? First, they can keep in their pockets, and second, they can keep or buy some bonds, right? Bonds are like promises to pay back money with extra money, that is the interest in the future, right? We all know that. Now, why would people choose one over the other? Keynes said there are three main reasons. That he distinguishes between three motives for holding cash. First is the transaction motive. The transactions motive is related to the demand for money or the desire for cash for current transactions of individuals and corporate trades. This is like the everyday reason. People want some money on hand to pay for things like groceries, bills, or going out. When people's income is higher, they need more money for these everyday expenses, right? Second one is precautionary motive. Sometimes unexpected things happen, like getting sick or losing a job. People like to have some extra money just in case. It's like a safety net. So individuals save money to cover unexpected expenses such as illness, accidents, and unemployment. Similarly, businessmen maintain cash on hand to weather bad times or benefit from unexpected opportunities. Next is a speculative motive. So this is a bit tricky. Imagine if you heard that the price of gold you have now will go up in the future. You might keep that gold instead of selling it, right? Hoping to make more money later. So that's why we Indians keep gold with us and purchase more gold, because we know that the price of gold will increase later on, right? So similarly, people might hold on to money if they think interest rates will go up so they can earn more later. So the speculative motive refers to the desire to keep one's resources liquid in order to profit on future changes in interest rate or bond prices. Now here's the interesting part. The interest rate affects how people make these choices. If the interest rate is high, people might not want to keep too much money because they could earn more by lending it out or investing in something else. But if the interest rate is low, people might be okay with holding on to more money because they won't miss out on much by not lending it. So the rate of interest, how much people can earn or pay for using money, is like a balance between how much people want to keep money for everyday stuff, for unexpected things, and for trying to make more money in the future. And all of this together helps decide the interest rate in the economy. So Keynes' theory helps us to understand that the interest rate is not just about banks and loans. It's also about how all of us make decisions about our money. Let's understand the next topic, that is IS curve. IS curve stands for investment saving curve, right? Let's understand this topic, but this is my advice that don't go too much deep into this concept, because we have to understand only basic understandings of this topic, right? So let's quickly start this and finish this. Now let's start with investment demand function. Investment demand function says if the rate of interest is increased, investment will decrease, and if the rate of interest will decrease, investment will increase. So it is an inward relationship, and investment curve will be downward sloping, right? Why? Rate of interest is increased, so producer will get capital at higher rate of interest. Think as per the business point of view, right? If you increase rate of interest in your banks, the producer will get loan at higher rate of interest, right? So this will increase the operational cost of them, right? So profits of producer will start falling and producers will take less interest in new projects, correct? So investment will fall, investment will be decreased. Similarly, if the rate of interest is decreased, producer will get capital at lower rate of interest. This will decrease the operational cost for them and profits of producer will increase, hence investment will increase, right? So as we saw in the last slide that it is a downward sloping. So here you can see as the rate of interest is increasing, investment is decreasing. So if investment are more responsive to rate of interest, then investment curve will be flatter, right? And if investments are less responsive to rate of interest, then investment curve will be steeper. So what was that? If it is more responsive to the rate of interest, then the curve will be flatter, and if it is less responsive, then the curve will be steeper. Okay, this is it for the IS curve. Now this is the last topic, that is the LM curve. LM curve stands for liquidity preference money supply curve. It says when the level of income increased, consumption increased, and it will automatically increase the demand for money. Similarly, if the level of income decreased, consumption will decrease and demand for money will be decreased. Easy, right? Demand for money for speculative purpose depends on rate of interest. Okay, so the level of income has direct relationship with the demand for money. So what does this all means? It means that LM curve is a graphical representation in macroeconomics that shows the relationship between the interest rate and the level of income. If you have more income, then you will do more consumption, right? You will do more shopping and the demand for money will be increased, right? So it is the relationship between the interest rate and the level of income at which the money market is in equilibrium. In simpler terms, it illustrates how the demand for money and the supply of money interact to determine the interest rate in the economy. So it helps us understand how changes in income can affect the rate of interest and vice versa, providing insights into the relationship between the money supply and the overall economic activity. So that's it for this chapter. Now, after watching this video, go through the notes provided in our Telegram channel, that is JAIIBONTips. Okay, then go for the MCQs provided. That's it for this chapter.